For Victims and Villains, my name is Josh, and today we have one final review from Fantasia Fest. Before getting into this year's podcast, this is Insectasy. Insectasy follows the tale of a woman named Sadie as she aims to juggle life, work, friends, and a pretty sexy obsession with insects. Insectasy probably has some of the most beautiful cinematography that I've caught at any film this year in Fantasia Fest. Now, granted, I've only been able to glean, a small handful of the titles, but this film is absolutely visually stunning. There are parts of this movie that visually, as you're seeing Sadie's character development and also simultaneously her erotic fixation develops, you're kind of seeing that from a visual perspective. Some of the visuals that Angus Silver, the film's director, really uses reminded me a lot of some of the visuals that David Lynch used in Wild at Heart, and kind of just done with this very almost kind of smoky effect with some of the visuals that, again, just kind of creates this really visually satisfying and just beautiful exploration of this character. Tirion Healy plays our main protagonist, Sadie, in this movie. As this character study kind of unfolds, this is a daring, transformative, and really just extremely vulnerable performance from Healy, and I think that this film works as well as it does because of that fearlessness that she brings to the role. I think if you have anything that's less than that boldness that she brings to this character, this film doesn't nearly work as much. And to really emphasize just how bold this film is, this film literally opens up with Healy masturbating on a bed. But I think one of the things that this film captures really well is the journey that one goes through really when you're kind of discovering your sexual identity and really things that you really like, and the kind of the journey and the trajectory sometimes that as you're kind of pushing yourself further and further really can just satisfy yourself, how that can really kind of take you into some dangerous places. This is a character study that definitely kind of has this almost coming of age type feel to it, which I thought was really interesting. Juxtaposition from what we normally see that genre kind of tackle, kind of having a woman that's well into adulthood, kind of having that sexual exploration of really what she loves and kind of what arouses her. I thought was a really interesting spin on that character study aspect. Healy is certainly the driving force as to why I would recommend a movie like Insectasy, but unfortunately, some of the performances that surround Healy aren't necessarily on par with Healy, and that kind of makes this film kind of a little bit of a hard viewing experience in certain parts. And it's not necessarily that the performances as a whole are bad, it's just the way that certain lines are delivered, and that's it makes for this little bit of like this awkward character exchanges and really cringe kind of almost feeling from an audience as well. Narratively, this movie can kind of be a little bit all over the place. Like, I understand that this is a movie about a woman that's essentially trying to juggle kind of life and really discovering her own identity. I understand that can be something that can be really challenging. And sometimes I think stories like that are better conveyed for other mediums or longer films. This movie clocks in at a mere 83 minutes, and honestly, this is one of those types of stories that I really feel like could have benefited from an additional 15 to 20 minutes of character exploration and really kind of getting to see really where we could have taken Sadie and some of the relationships that she has on screen. Also, kind of just to develop her and her personal growth just a little bit more. Not to say that this movie is not beautiful the way that it is. It absolutely is. I think this has probably one of my favorite climaxes that I've seen at this year's Fantasia Fest. Yes, pun intended. But the narrative does still, at the end of the day, feel kind of messy and a little bit rushed at certain points in the story, and I really would have liked to kind of see certain plot points or characters developed just a little bit more. I'm ready to run this one through our Rorschach rating scale, though, so let's get into it. I'm going to go ahead and give Insectasy a 3.5 out of 5. Overall, I thought this movie is a beautiful character study. It is completely elevated by its visuals and the incredible performance by Tirion Healy here. Sometimes some of the story does feel a little bit rushed in certain parts, and I really kind of wish that this movie had been fleshed out just a little bit more, and I would have loved to see kind of an extended cut or to see this same story told in a different medium. I really think this is a beautiful film regardless. Insectasy is currently making its rounds through the festival circuit, but in the show notes below, you guys will find not only more information about the film, but also links to our social media. The reason I bring up social media is that when we cover film festivals like Fantasia Fest, we always like to make sure that we are making it possible for you guys to follow us on social media, so that as this film or other features that have been featured in this year get a wider release, you guys are the first to kind of be able to check it out and see really what it's all about. If you or someone you know is currently struggling with suicide, addiction, self-harm, or depression, please check out the mental health resource library in our show notes below. At the end of the day, this is the reason why we make the content we do, is so that it reminds you that you are not alone. Suicide is currently the 11th leading cause of death in the United States. There are over 49,000 people that died by suicide as of 2023. Our latest statistics tell us there is, for every one person that dies by suicide, there are 25 more that same day that have attempted to also die by suicide. That's just to kind of put that in perspective. That's 1.6 million people that attempted suicide the same year. In the show notes below, you guys will find those links. And just a reminder, once again, you are not alone. Also in the show notes, you guys will find more links to more movie reviews and podcasts like this, as well as that subscribe button. So until next time, remember to keep it classy, keep it spooky, and check out our sex and mental health podcast if you like more content like this.